Schön, lasst euch überraschen. Emma Hooper.
Sturdy, I'm too strong. Think myself's too big for you. Feels like I leave you all small. One's not big for two though. I'll hold up the sky for you. See, I'll be your mountain. I am your mountain. I'll wrap myself round part stone and part warm right through. I'll be your mountain too. I'll be your mountain, I am your mountain. Thank you very much. I am waitress for the bees, aka Emma Hooper, and my Deutsch is nicht so gut, aber ich kann sagt. I can't say that I can say, but we can talk about the weather. That's the only thing I can talk about. So der Himmel ist blau und es regnet und es ist windstill. If you don't want to talk about the weather, then I'm afraid it's going to have to be in English or French. On peut parler en français si tu veux, mais peut-être c'est pas la plus bonne chose du monde. Hein? Okay, we'll talk in English. As waitress for the bees, I have two albums. One is about dinosaurs and one is about insects. The first song I just played for you is Diplodocus, which is a dinosaur. You know the one? Diplodocus. It has a long neck. It's like the famous looking one. Long neck, long tail, eats trees. That one. And now I'm going to play another dinosaur, which is not so famous. Ornithomimus. Anybody? No. Yeah! Oh, okay. You got the good Latin. You know your Latin. That's impressive. No one has ever known that dinosaur, so don't feel bad. It's like the least known dinosaur in the world. but it's also the fastest runner of the dinosaurs. So it deserves a song. My skin and blood's made of the light around me. Big circle eyes to catch the sun inside me. And when I'm full and safe and warm and ready, see how I run. You, breathe and we all may crumble. Great paper bones, so quickly all can crumble. So jump and grab the tiny time we have here. You'll run with me. Race you to the top of the night. I'll race you to the end of your life. So just for now, we're green and strong and bouncing. So eat it all, the counter's always counting. So jump and grab the tiny time we have here. You'll run with me. You, breathe and we all may crumble. Creeping, but bones so quickly all can tumble. So jump and grab the tiny time we have here. You'll run with me. My skin and blood's made of the light around me. Big circle eyes to catch the sun inside me. And when I'm full and safe and warm and ready, see how I run. New song. So, I am waitress for the bees. It's true. I'm also eine Mutti. So if there's any screaming or shouting or I don't know, vomiting, that's all my baby and my fault. Sorry. Also, I am an author. I wrote a book. It's called Etta and Otto and Russell and James. In German, it's called Etta und Otto und Russell und James. And that's the only part of the book that I'm going to read in German today. But it does exist in German, in Germany. There's a lovely orange cover on the German one, and it's a beautiful thing. But I'm going to do a little reading for you from the English version, just from the very beginning, chapter 1. A short chapter, and I won't tell you anything about it because it's chapter 1. Otto. The letter began in blue ink. I've gone. I've never seen the water, so I've gone there. Don't worry. I've left you the truck. I can walk. I will try to remember to come back. Yours, Etta. Underneath the letter, she left a pile of recipe cards, all the things she had always made, also in blue ink, so he would know what and how to eat while she was away. After a while, Otto stood and went to get their globe. It had a light on in the middle that shone through the latitude and the longitude lines. He turned it on and turned off all the other lights. He put it on the far side of the table, away from the letters and cards, and traced a path with his finger. Halifax. If she went east, Etta would have 3,232 kilometers to cross. If west, to Vancouver, 1,201 kilometers. But she would go east, Otto knew. He could feel the tightness in the skin across his chest pulling that way. He noticed his rifle was missing, and it would still be an hour until the sun rose. So this is chapter 1, short. So now that you have a sort of general sense of the book, I can tell you that Etta and Otto are a couple who live on a farm. They're in their 80s. They're an older couple, nearing the end-ish part of their lives. And Etta is starting to develop the beginning of dementia, the beginning of Alzheimer's. So she's starting to lose herself. And because of this, she decides she needs to walk across Canada to see the water because she never has seen the ocean before she loses herself completely. She wants to have this. So that's why she picks up and leaves one day, and Otto's left at home alone for the first time. He has to figure out how to cook for himself and everything else, and then you get the book. But the book is not just the characters of Etta and Otto and Russell and James. There's also this other character, which is very important to me, which is the character of the place, of setting, of where the book takes place, which is Saskatchewan. Has anyone been to Saskatchewan? No. I have. I've been to Saskatchewan. It is not surprising. No one has been to Saskatchewan. Don't feel bad. It is in the kind of the middle of Canada. It's very big. It is more than 2 times the size of England. It's a big part of Canada. But there's nothing there. It's just flat. There's no trees. There's no trees. There's no hills. There's no mountains. There's no oceans. There's nothing. It's just flat farms forever and ever and ever. There's about 3 people who live there, and that's all. They say in Saskatchewan that you can watch your dog running away for 3 days. It's a very boring place, but it's a boring place where I spent a lot of my childhood because it's where my grandparents are from. It's where my mother's from, and so we spent a lot of time there. And there's something really wonderful I soon discovered about a boring place for children. Being a child in a horribly boring place was actually the most wonderful thing, because your imagination can go crazy and you can fill it up with whatever you want. And so when it came time to write this book, when I decided I wanted to write this book, I knew I wanted to have it in Saskatchewan. For one reason, because no one has heard of it, and so hey, I can show people this place that no one's heard of, but also because it's so empty that it is full of possibility. So I set the book there. And I think that's where I'm going to leave the book for now. We'll come back to it in a second, but I'm going to play some more music over here. That is way too tall for me. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I played you 2 dinosaurs already. So to be fair, now I need to play 2 insects. And I think I'm going to start with a drone bee song. So you know about bees. Yeah, good. Educated people. You know that there are 3 kinds of bees, generally speaking. Within a hive, you have die Königin bee, the queen bee. And then you have the worker bees, and they do all the working. And then you have the drone bees, and they hang out and wait for their one chance to mate with the queen, and then they die. That's what a drone bee does.
It's actually the same word in German.
Oh, is it? Drone.
Drone, yeah.
Drone.
Yeah.
Great, I've got that word now.
Yeah.
I'm going to press the ball tomorrow. So, der Drone? Die Drone. Oh, I
No, it's male.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's
There's
male.
a little
Oh.
contradiction there.
Neat. Okay, die Drone. So this is the life of a drone bee. It's kind of boring, but it has, one kind of peak in the middle, and then it's over. Unless you're unlucky enough to be a drone bee born in the autumn, and then what often happens is it gets colder, the hive needs to preserve its energy for the winter, so the worker bees at a certain point decide, okay, we only have so much to get us through the winter, we can only feed so many bees. Drone bees, why don't you go outside and have a walk? Just go for a nice little fly around, just come back maybe in half an hour, just stretch your wings before the winter. So the drones go out, the worker bees seal up the hive really quickly, and when the drones come back, they can't get in. So they die outside, they freeze. It's a sad, horrible life to be a drone bee, is what I learned. So I was like, oh, the least I can do is give it a little song. So I wrote a song for the drone bee. Frost on my nose and on my lashes fills the night with brilliant flashes. It turns the darkness into light. It sure is beautiful tonight. It sure is beautiful tonight. It sure is beautiful. Loan me a scarf or a sweater. You would have known, you always knew better. Still I'll wait some more. 'Cause waiting is what I'm for. You could have loaned me a scarf or a sweater. You would have known, you always knew better. Still I'll wait some more. 'Cause waiting is what I'm one day I'll fly, I'll explode across the sky. Yeah, one day I'll fly with you, I'll explode across the sky. Yeah, one day I'll fly with you, I'll explode across the sky. Yeah, one day I'll fly with you, I'll explode across the sky. Yeah, one day I'll fly with you, I'll explode across the sky. Yeah, one day I'll fly with you, I'll explode across the sky. Yeah, one day I'll fly with you, I'll explode across the sky. Yeah, one day. So that was kind of a sad insect story, sorry, but it is a hard life being an insect. I have learned that in doing my research. But it can also be a big, warm, happy family, being an insect. And the next song I'm going to do is about that. It's about stick insects, which I don't know the German word for at all. It's an insect that looks like a stick. It looks like a part of a tree.
Ah, Stabheuschrecke.
Yeah, Stabheuschrecke. Is that at all how you say it? Stabheuschrecke.
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 Yeah.
Heuschrecke. Okay, yeah. I'll just bring you on the rest of the tour. And then we'll have Stabheuschrecke. That's the one. It looks like a little part of a tree, like a branch. So you look at the tree, you're like, oh, what a nice tree. Oh my gosh, it's covered in bugs. I can't even see them. But they're very interesting. They're kind of cute in a way. And so I used to have them as pets. I had some pet stick bugs, like 4 years ago. And I learned lots of interesting things about them when I had them as pets. I learned that they're almost all female. Like 99.9% of them are female. And that's because they don't need any males to have babies. They can do that all by themselves. Each stick bug lays about 30 eggs a day, totally by herself. And those all hatch, and then you have 30 babies, and then tomorrow you have 30 more babies, and tomorrow you have 30 more babies. And the thing about having just one stick insect all by herself laying 30 eggs is that all of those eggs are going to be exact clones of her and exact clones of each other. So I was like, wow, imagine if you had like 100 sisters who were exactly the same as you. You would fight a lot about clothes. So I wrote a song for them. When we go to sleep in the morning, they don't know where we go. Your feet against my feet in the morning, so our eyes don't show. We're growing side by side since we were born in what will be the only home we'll ever know. Everything I know you know. Oh, and this is how we grow. All of us in lines like bowling, all of us dead still, trying not to get too lonely when our toes don't feel each other. And if I stand up on your shoulders, they might think we're that much older. Just like that will be a me instead of we, our hearts will slow. Oh, and this is how we know. I'll see you there, I'll see you almost everywhere. You're in my clothes and hair. I'll see you there, I'll see you almost everywhere. You're in my clothes and hair, and I don't care. want to miss you. And I think you know we're pushing out with all our legs together. Find some way to figure whether you would still be me. And we would still be we if I should go. Oh, but I think you know. I'll see you there, I'll see you almost everywhere. You're in my clothes and hair. I'll see you there, I'll see you almost everywhere. You're in my clothes and hair. I'll see you there. Okay, I'm an author again. I've got the book in my hand. I'm going to read another section, a little one for you. But I don't feel like reading the normal one. I think I'm going to let you decide. That's weird. I've never done that before. But I have to keep it interesting for myself. Would you rather hear a bit about Otto or Russell? And you don't even know who these people are, so you don't even know what you're choosing. So, who wants Otto? Otto? Who wants Russell?
Russell.
Oh my gosh! Russell is popular. That'll make him happy. That's nice. He's not that popular in the book. Okay. We'll do the Russell bit. For this, I should explain a tiny bit that Etta and Otto are a married couple in their 80s living on a farm in Saskatchewan. Russell is their neighbor, and Russell has grown up with Otto. So Otto is from a family of 15 children, a farm family with 15 children, based on my own grandfather, who had a family of 15 children. And Russell was an only child, and he just gets absorbed into this family, kind of like an extra sibling. He's not actually orphaned, but he has not much of a family himself, so he joins. And he's Otto's lifelong best friend. And so he's kind of always been there. And then when Etta leaves, Otto stays home, because he wants to let her have her journey. But Russell follows her. Russell drove and drove until his eyes wouldn't let him anymore, and he had to pull over and sleep. When he woke up, he assessed the situation. He was a fair ways across Manitoba. Starting into the outskirts of somewhere, there was a gas station with a diner. Russell pulled in. The waitress was tiny, 10 years old, 11 maybe. She held his plate of eggs and toast straight out in front of her as she walked. "No tomatoes today," she said. "Sorry. This normally comes with cooked tomatoes, but none today." "Oh," said Russell. "That's okay." There were no other customers in the diner. It was still very early. "No problem," said the girl. "You want something else instead? Instead of the tomato, I think we have bananas in the kitchen, and carrots, and cookies." "A carrot?" said Russell. "For breakfast?" said the girl. "Yes, well, no. Should I have the banana instead?" "I'd have the cookie," said the girl. So Russell had the cookie. The child went into the kitchen and brought it to him, arms straight out. It was oatmeal raisin flavor. "Thank you," said Russell. "Oh, no problem," said the girl. She rested one hand on the table and made no move to leave. Russell cut a bit of his egg and put it on a bit of toast and lifted it to his mouth. The girl watched him, a little bored. "Good?" she said. Yes. Thanks, said Russell. Thank you. It's not hard, said the girl, to cook an egg. I've been doing it forever. Oh, said Russell, but still. He cut another piece of egg and accidentally pierced the yolk. It spread across his plate. Say, he said, shouldn't you be in school? Nah, said the girl. I don't go to school. Home learning. Posted in, you know? So I have time to run this place. And your parents? In Toronto. We've been running this place on our own for 4 years now. Speaking of which, I guess I'll go check on the pie. You won't be lonely? Oh no, I'll be fine. But I'd like to ask one more thing. Yes, of course. Have you seen an older woman on her own, dusty, probably walking through here or past here? Wait, I've got a photo. Russell took his wallet from his back pocket and pulled a haggard black and white picture from between two $5 bills. That's her, he said. A little while ago, though, and just the lady, not the man. In the photo, Etta was wearing a sort of ivory dress suit, narrow skirt, blouse, tapered jacket. She was smiling. It was her wedding photo. Russell had taken the photo himself. So, about 60 years older than this. But still her, said Russell. That's not you, said the girl, pointing at the man in the photo, at Otto. No, said Russell, that's Otto. How sad, said the girl. No, I haven't seen her, but I don't get out of here much. Hold on, I'll get the dish boy. I'll ask him. Russell ate as much of his eggs and toast as he could while she went back into the kitchen. When she appeared again, she had a little boy with glasses and freckles with her. His glasses were all fogged over. My brother, she said, he does the dishes. She turned to the boy. Tell him what you told me, she said. My window, said the boy, by the sink. It looks over the road and the fields behind it. I see loads of trucks and tractors and combines and animals sometimes too, sometimes deer. Monty, said the girl, punching him in the arm. Stop rambling. Tell him what you told me. And, said the boy, and also, I saw a lady, I think, yesterday morning. I thought she was maybe a witch or a lady Santa Claus. Russell's chest clenched. A lady? An older lady? Did she look okay? Was she hurt or anything? She was singing. She was fine. She was magical. So that's where I'm going to leave you. I'm not going to read any more of the book. If you want to, you can find it. It's Etta und Otto und Russell und James in all the bookstores. And just before I play any more, I'll just take a minute to talk about how this world and this world kind of fit together in my life. So I've been doing music for a long time. I started lessons when I was 3 on the violin, die Geige und auch die Bratsche. And so I was doing that, but I was also reading and writing the whole time as well, and kind of having these two things fit together, which I think they do fit together really nicely. One way that I think they really fit together in my writing is in rhythm. You're not always aware, I think, when you're reading or when you're writing, how important rhythm is, but it's very important, sort of the way the words go past. So a good, easy example of this is the title I chose. So I chose the title basically just for the rhythm, which is Etta and Otto and Russell and James. It's a great rhythm. It could be any word. I don't know, pickles and carrots and gherkins and slaw. Same thing. But if it was Etta, Otto, Russell, and James, that wouldn't be nearly as good, I think. So there's lots of attention to rhythm in the book, to how the sentences fall and sort of repetition of words and things like that. And likewise, there's a lot of kind of attention to tempo, to how fast the reading is going to be at any given point. So you can kind of slow a reader down, like the way you have slow music, by using longer words and longer sentences. And you can speed a reader up by using shorter words and shorter sentences. And you can play... Oh, I should have picked up my mirror. You can play with the space in between words as well. Just like in music, you have the space in between notes. You have, you know, pauses and rests that make the music what it is. You can do the same thing with words. So a good example of this I like to show is chapter 19, which looks a bit like this. It's a really quick one. If you just want to read a really quick chapter, I recommend 19. So you read that and you just kind of have to have this pause at the end, have to have this fermata, which is, I think, a nice way of adding music or a musicalization to the reading, to the book. I had a sort of interview thing with the public a while ago where people could sort of email in questions and live. It was like a live email in questions thing. And one of the questions was, it wasn't even a question, it was just like a kind of an insult. It was someone who was angry that I ripped them off. They're like, why is there so much space with no words in it? That's a rip-off. So I'm just warning you now, if you decide you'd like the book and you want to go get it for yourself, sometimes there are spaces with no words. It's not a rip-off, there's a reason. The other musical thing that I kind of work into my writing is a more obvious one maybe, which is inspiration. So when I'm writing, I'll have certain pieces of music that work as sort of a soundtrack to the book. So I'll listen to them when I'm writing, I'll think about them, they'll put me in the right mood. Like a soundtrack for a movie, same kind of idea. And I have a whole soundtrack for that book, but I've already written that book. So I'm working on another book now, and it's set in Newfoundland, which is on the east coast of Canada. It's very wet and windy and cold. And they have lots of folk music there. There's folk music of Newfoundland, and so I've been listening to lots of that. And I thought I could play you one folk song from Newfoundland as a way to kind of bring it all together. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to play one more insect song, and then I'm going to say, thank you, good night. Just a preview. Not yet, but it's coming. So this song is from Newfoundland. It's called She's Like the Swallow, and it is the oldest song, they think, from Newfoundland, Canada. Like the swallow that flies on high, like the river that never runs dry, like the sunshine on the bleak shore. I loved my love, but my loving home, I'll write a song. I'll write it true and I'll write it long, and then I'll have the words to sing how I loved my love, but my loving. How foolish I must be to think I love no other but she. The world's not made for one alone. I loved a nice bunch of people you are. So nice. This has just been a really lovely gig. And I don't even know where my baby is, but he's not crying, so that's good. I mean, he probably is crying out there somewhere, but it's fine. Charlie's got him. So thank you so much for sitting and being nice and coming in the first place. I've got an album over there, My Insects. Books are in bookstores, so you can get them there. I don't have that with me, but it's always nice to go to a bookstore. I really love the opportunity, so I didn't want to take that away from you. So you can do that yourselves. This last song is about eine Fruchtfliege. When I was young, I wished for some legs. I wished and waited 3 days. And then I had legs and wings and a head and babies and eggs. And then I was dead. But if I was young again, I'd love the tiny me. Inside the fruits and the roots, live happily. By moving slow, you can know the world's a tiny thing. 'Cause once you're great, it's too late just to be. There's nothing so great about being all grown, being too strong, being alone. There's nothing so great about being all grown, being too strong, being alone. But if I was young again, I'd love the tiny me. Inside the fruits and the roots, live happily. By moving slow, you can know the world's a tiny thing. 'Cause once you're great, it's too late just to be. So let's start again. From go, you and I, forgetting our legs, forgetting to die. And since we're just worms, we'll curl in a ball and warmly survive the winter, the fall. D-string is not happy today. Just for the record. Okay, you can have one more. Woo! Do you want? Okay, here are the options. It's gonna be an insect either way, but it can either be a kind of dramatic, some might say sad, a story about an ant, like an ant zombie apocalypse. Or do you want a sort of anthem about sleeping for 7 years and then finally getting to wake up.
7 years.
Okay, so zombie ants or sleeping for 7 years and getting to wake up. So who wants zombie ants?
Zombie ants.
Oh, I'm gonna have to actually count. This is like school. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, who wants sleeping for 7 years and getting to wake up? Oh, that's better. And there's movement for this one. Okay. Okay, so this is about cicadas. Is that the same word in German? Oh, it's the same. It's just an accent. Cicada. Yeah, and so do you know about what they do? It's so weird and amazing. They all, you know, are around for like a day, and then they all crawl under. Well, they mate the babies, the larvae, crawl under the leaves, and they go, I'm exhausted, and they sleep for. Different species do different amounts, but on average, 7 years. 7 years! Imagine, you go to sleep, you're like, I'm just gonna sleep. You wake up, you're like, what? Trump was president? Oh my gosh. A lot can change in 7 years. So, after 7 years, they all magically wake up at the same time, and they kind of look around and like, hey, I haven't seen you in 7 years, I haven't seen you, wow! And they have this great party, and they all make love, and then they have babies, and those babies crawl on the ground and they all die. But they've had a great time for about 3 days. So this is a song for them. Sorry, I'm very. That's not in tune, is it? No. That's better. It's better for everyone. Waited long enough. Yeah, we've waited long enough. Waited long enough. Yeah, we've waited long enough. And now we rise. We rise. Since we've seen the song, since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, long enough. Since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, long enough. Since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song. Since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, long enough. Since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, long enough. Since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, long enough. Since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, long enough. Since we've sung our song, since we've seen the song, since we've sung our song,